I'm really worried about her. We should get her to eat something.
He was a wanker.
Yeah, well, don't tell her that, will you? I know what you're like. Who's that? I haven't got my lenses in.
It's the wanker.
Listen! Pauli, listen to me, please. Now, I know Janie came to see you. Now, I don't know what she said exactly, but you have to understand she is completely and utterly mad. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Well, don't you care? Aren't you even interested? Don't I deserve that after 10 years? Now, a little while ago, just before you came up here, there was this office thing. There was a lot to drink, and one thing led to another. I can't even really remember what happened. Now, that's not an excuse, it's an explanation. But it became clear to me that what was just a mistake, just a one-off. She thought it was going somewhere. She thought there was something in it. She got it all out of proportion.
Did you do it again?
I'm not going to lie to you. It got really heavy. She was just there, you know? And you weren't. Not that that was your fault. I didn't tell you anything because it meant nothing. She meant nothing to me. I wanted to get rid of her. I wasn't going to upset you about nothing. I mean, you met her. She's mad. Pauli, listen to me, please. You don't understand how bad I feel. I mean, it was a mistake. One mistake. Hasn't changed the way I feel. I still love you.
Oh no, she's going to take him back. I think he really loves her.
Please. We're going to throw it all away. After all these years, for just one thing. Just give me another chance. It'll never happen again. I love you. Just tell me you'll think about it. Just tell me that.
You can stay here as long as you want, don't you? You don't ever have to move out. Thanks. It's just... I don't know whether I'm going to stay in Liverpool or not, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, come on.
Want some music?
Look, let's get one thing straight, Callaghan. I'm fine. I'm okay, so stop treating me like an invalid.
I just asked if you wanted some music.
Don't tell anyone about this, all right? Especially Frank.
I just asked if you wanted some music.
Well, where are we going anyway? This isn't the way to work.
Hi, Paul.
Frank?
My car broke down.
You tell the bastard Callaghan. I'm sick of the women. I'm sick of the drinking. I'm sick of it all, right? Sick!
Be fine, you know? It's just for a couple of days.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I've had the boss on the phone this morning. He wants to know when we're going to stop spending a lot of time and money on a suspected crackdown on the edge of nowhere and make a stunning series of arrests that look great in the Echo, Frank.
Well, it's going okay.
Translate.
We're get it done quite soon.
How soon? You got a search warrant, yeah?
Yep.
And it runs out when?
Next week, I think. It's Thursday today, yeah? Then I guess it would be Sunday. Hell. Whew. Time flies, eh?
We got enough to raid them on yet?
Well, we want to be sure there's a lot of stuff in there before we hit the place, you know?
Any pattern of delivery? Supply? Anything? You've been watching the place for weeks, on and off. God damn it, what's the matter with you, Frank?
Well, to be honest, Howard, it's hard to tell. Some days it's like Lime Street Station, and sometimes it's like they've moved out.
All right, Frank. It's your operation. Where's it going?
Okay, we get a bit more on the log, box that off, and then we hit them Sunday morning, early.
Okay. Sunday it is. Callie, you got a minute.
When you bring me up here, it's always trouble.
How would you feel about being DS for a bit?
Frank's acting DS.
So, how would you feel?
I'd feel pretty bad about it.
Look, I like Frank very much, but I just can't go on telling myself that he's doing a good job at the moment, and I can't go on telling the boss that either.
Mrs. Frank's thrown him out again.
Well, I can understand how she feels.
Frank's sound. He's staying with me for a couple of days. I'll look after him.
So that's a note to the DS ideally.
DS gets shit from everyone, and I like what I do.
I've had just about enough, Callie, I tell you. I'm sick of it all.
Come on, Howard, cheer up. Everyone have got to get relegated sometime. This could be their season.
Yeah. Still can't believe they drew with Coventry. Last game of the season and all. I mean, the surveillance job.
To be honest, I've had nothing to do with it.
Well, just check it out quietly for me, will you? You and Pauli take the first shift, go up to that place and see what's happening there, okay?
We should walk the rest. The Jeep sticks out a bit around here.
The Jeep sticks out a bit everywhere.
And next time, wear a hat.
What the hell for?
Because you look out of place, and you don't piss about with busies here.
Look, I can look after myself. Well, thanks for the advice. Mrs. Becker, I'm DC to Pauli, this is DC Callaghan. It's really good of you to let us use your flat for surveillance.
Anything that helps put those people in prison, I'm happy to help. And the police have been very pleasant. I'm going to work now. Can I get a cup of tea first?
Oh, yes, thanks.
I have Earl Grey or Darjeeling.
Ordinary's fine, thanks.
I've set out some sandwiches in the kitchen, a mixture of wholemeal and granary. They're under the serviettes.
What's a woman like her doing living in an area like this?
Target premises opposite. Light industrial use, but they live there full time. One IC1 male, one IC3 male. 20s. Convictions for supply and AVH.
This is Paul.
Hi, Paul. Have you lived here long, Mrs. Becker?
My husband left us in financial difficulties. I'm not complaining. We have our health and we have each other, and there are decent people here. They moved in a few months ago. One morning I was walking Paul to school, and this car came from nowhere. God knows how fast it was going. It missed him by a few inches. Split second either way and he'd be dead. And then these two men got out and started shouting and screaming, the worst filth you ever heard. I was terrified. We get woken up by cars coming and going all times of the night, music blaring, gangs of men hanging around. Paul won't leave the flat now, only to go to school. So I called the police.
As a man, would you say Sarah Harding's attractive?
Who?
You know, that dog of a lawyer Callie was shagging.
Well, if I were you, John, forget all about that.
Forget about what?
Nothing. Howard's brought forward my performance review. He wants to do it today. Do you know anything about that?
Of course not, why?
Well, has somebody said something?
Like who? Like what?
Nothing.
Something you're not telling me, Frank?
No, of course not.
This car we clocked last time at the flat, have you put the plate through the PNC yet?
The maroon Mercedes.
DBY 8860, yes.
He's coming out.
Have you put it through, Frank?
Looks pissed off.
He always looks pissed off. Have you put the bastard through the PNC or what?
No.
Okay.
What about the blindfold?
Look, I don't want to do this any more than you do, but it's got to be done once a year, so let's just get on with it, shall we?
Yep.
And remember, it's for your benefit.
I appreciate that, Howard.
Okay, category 1. Self-motivation. Now, last year, you may remember, we were looking at a 2 out of 8 here, and we said that this year we'd be aiming for a 4.
Yep.
Well, I have to tell you that the way I'm thinking about it at the moment, we're still on a 2 here.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel I've let you down a bit, to be honest, Howard.
You know, your heart's in the right place, Frank. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I just sometimes wonder about your head and your genitals.
What? No. My moosing days are well done, Howard. They're well behind me. I'm not up to it anymore.
Well, I am a bit concerned about your health now that you mention it.
Did I mention it?
There was talk of a diet. Remember that?
Can't we move on to creativity and innovation?
No. No, that's category 4. I want to do it in order.
You're not scoring too well on flexibility here, Howard. That's category 3.
Do you think this is funny? Okay, it's managerial bollocks. We all know that. But I'll tell you something you don't know. The boss pulled your file out of admin last month.
He didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
Howard?
Not now. Not now.
Look, there was this car me and Frank locked while we were on surveillance at the flat. I just put the plate through the PNC and it got flagged up to customs. So I'll give them a ring about it.
Look, is this urgent?
Well, yeah, they want to see you about it.
Oh, bollocks. When?
Now.
Hi. Howard Jones.
Hi. I'm sorry to have got your DI out the pub just now.
I like to do my performance reviews in a relaxed atmosphere, okay?
Yes. Well, what's this all about, Miss Campbell?
I need to know the details of any operation of yours which pertains to the owner of car registration DBY 886D.
May I ask what your interest is?
I'd prefer to keep that confidential, below a certain level.
Well, may I suggest if there's any possibility of a joint operation, it would be wise to include Inspector Jones from the outset.
I don't see any possibility of that, frankly.
Just a minute, what do you mean by that exactly?
Okay, it's all right, Howard.
Look, I read the papers and I've seen you're mobbing them too often in the last 6 months. We've worked a long time on this and we've spent a lot of money and I'm not going to take any chances.
Well, we're not just going to hand over our work and go home. No way.
Luckily, that's not your decision, is it?
Miss Campbell, may I remind you, 1, we share the same goals, and 2, you are an outside agency asking for our help. Now, we're quite happy to cooperate with the Customs and Excise, but we will be fully informed about your end of things, and any operation in my area will be jointly run.
Don't try and screw me on this, Mr. Hill.
I'm sure this is the last thing on our minds.